Hello and welcome to Westman This Week for March 14th. I'm Stephen Whitehead and here's what's making headlines. Measles cases climb in the US. The outbreak is a flight away from Canada. Watch out, this year, once again, potholes paved Brandon's roads. Ongoing trade war brings new tariffs, now targeting the farmers. We'll have all those stories and more coming up on Westman This Week. Are you fully immunized against measles? National Public Health Agency advises to check the disease in vaccination rates. For measles concerns, officials as the outbreak may be a flight away from Canada. Currently, Canadian health officials are aware of 227 cases of the disease. They are highly contagious and cause cough, red rashes, and fever. During the pandemic, many school vaccination programs were set aside. Around 20% of children under 7 are not fully immunized. Provincial health care institutions are calling for parents to vaccinate their kids. Officials say that vaccines are effective in preventing potential peril of measles. Watch out for that pothole. It's that time again. The roads are clear to show off Brandon's wonderful potholes. Our Kira Stevens has more.
I'm Kira Stevens with Westman This Week, and behind me right now is one of Brandon's obstacle courses. I mean, a road. But at this point, with all the potholes around, drivers are having to avoid the hazards. It makes our daily routes harder and harder to navigate around. During the cold winter season, because of the frigid temperatures, our roads expand. Now, with the warming weather that has melted away all the horrid snow, it's exposing these massive craters, more commonly known as potholes. These different holes and divots in our roads is what causes damage to our cars. The City of Brandon has a budget of about $200,000 to fix up the roads. For now, at Murray's shop foreman Ryan Knuff has a full schedule of car repairs, likely due to damage done by Brandon's potholes.
The roads are not the best around the city, so on vehicles that we look at every day, I mean, it goes anywhere from tires to suspension work. It's probably the hardest on tires.
We know our roads are bad. The question is, how long will it take to fix them? Before our roads reach a smooth cruise of a ride, drivers will remain on the lookout for potholes to arise. From Westman This Week, I'm Kira Stevens.
Fines are turning into fine art here in Brandon, with a public graffiti wall now open to everyone. For years, graffiti has been a subject of strong opinions in many cities. People from all walks of life have their views on it. Some see it as vandalism, while others see it as a form of art. Street art is growing in popularity. Brandon is giving local artists a place to express themselves. Hope Switzer from the BNRC talks about how this is making a difference in the community.
The biggest things that we use to prevent graffiti being on walls is murals. And a graffiti wall is kind of like a living mural.
With winter coming to a close and weather warming up, the City of Brandon has announced that the beloved Oval has been closed. Our Matt Schroeder has more.
I'm Matthew Schroeder here at the public ice skating oval in Brandon, which has been closed due to warm weather and poor ice skating conditions for the winter. After being closed extremely early last year on the 16th of February, within 4.5 weeks of being opened, the oval made a comeback this year by closing on Monday, March 10th, after being open for almost 3 months. All associated flood lighting has been switched off and oval close signs and barriers have been posted at the oval. Additionally, the Manitoba Hydro Waterfall of Lights exhibit has also been turned off. Furthermore, according to the city, the warming shacks at Hanbury Hill and the oval would be sealed and closed until next season. I'm Matthew Schroeder, Westman This Week. Brandon, back to you.
The Canadian Regional Indoor Archery Championships shot into Brandon. The two-day event, sponsored by Archery Manitoba, was held at a local sporting goods store. Participants of all ages were able to compete within their designated categories. Event officials ensured all equipment was within proper specifications and that all competitors understood the strict rules surrounding the event. Targets were then placed at a distance of 18 meters from the designated firing line. Each regional competitor's official score was then recorded and compared on a national level.
Archery in Manitoba is a growing sport. It's one of the sports that young children like to participate in because it's a singularity sport as opposed to a team sport. It's made to build focus, concentration, camaraderie, social skills. And today it's an example of it because we've got like 14 young children under 15 years old competing today. And their scores will be posted on the Canada Archery website, and they'll be compared against scores right across Canada from coast to coast.
Archery Manitoba will return to Brandon March 21st to the 23rd for an indoor third archery event at the Keystone Center. This week marked 5 years since the World Health Organization declared COVID-19 a pandemic. While health officials say most people now appear to recover fully from a COVID infection, some go on to develop symptoms long after the initial infection. Here's today's Health Minute.
It's characterized by symptoms that typically develop within 3 months after a COVID-19 infection and may last years. The World Health Organization says the chance of developing long COVID appears to be lower now than at the pandemic's peak, but with the virus still spreading, there's still risk.
Some people are still struggling with it today. About 30% of adults who had COVID have these persistent symptoms. That's what the data shows.
Common symptoms of long COVID include fatigue, breathlessness, muscle or joint pain, and sleep issues.
It does seem to be most correlated with how severe your infection was initially and your overall risk factors at the time of infection. So, for example, your age or your immune function.
Dr. Sanjay Gupta says for many people, long COVID can worsen conditions like lung disease, and up to 40% of those with long COVID appear to have persistent breathing problems, likely due to scarring or thickening of lung tissue from the initial COVID-19 infection.
Many people do seem to eventually recover, or at least improve. And while it may sound simple, doing directed breathing exercises, that can go a long way. And of course, doing everything you can to prevent another infection.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Economic fears are on the rise as trade war tensions increase. It outlines the importance of supporting local retailers. Trump's administration slapped a 25% tariff on steel and aluminum, forcing stores to go more local. Loretta Turner has been community first since she opened, whether it's providing for families or supporting local causes. Turner spoke on what it means to be a part of a community.
Being part of that togetherness, having the conversations at the post office, going to the events, supporting our locals, supporting our youth, supporting our seniors, shopping local, getting to know everyone around you. That's definitely what being part of a small town means.
China is imposing new retaliatory tariffs on certain U.S. agricultural goods today. President Donald Trump says his trade policies will make the U.S. richer in the end, but his administration is starting to acknowledge the potential for at least some short-term pain for Americans. Amy Keeley has the latest on escalating trade tensions.
In trade, as in hockey, Canada will win.
Some American trade partners are cracking down on U.S. exports. Starting today, American farmers face new retaliatory tariffs on many products they send to China. The measures include an extra 15% duty on chicken, wheat, corn, and cotton, and a 10% one on items such as beef and soybeans. Some American farmers say they're worried escalating trade tensions could make it harder to sell their products abroad.
Everything we produce far exceeds what the domestic market could handle.
Meanwhile, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's newly elected successor is standing by Canada's retaliation against the U.S.
And my government will keep our tariffs on until the Americans show us respect.
President Donald Trump is doubling down. He says some tariffs on Canadian and Mexican goods scheduled for April 2nd, quote, could go up. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick says duties on steel and aluminum imports are set to start Wednesday. Most mainstream economists say tariffs can be inflationary. Lutnick acknowledges some prices might rise in the U.S., but Trump says any pain would be short term.
Are you expecting a recession this year?
I hate to predict things like that. There is a period of transition because what we're doing is very big. We're bringing wealth back to America.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
Well, that's all the time we have for local and regional news. We'll take a short break and be right back after this. Welcome back. The resignation of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and the election of Mark Carney may have an impact on international relations, including the Canada-India relationship. Our Ritika Thacker has more.
Thanks, Stephen. The broken diplomatic relationship between India and Canada could soon be on the mend. Relations between the two countries reached a historic low in September 2023. That's when Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau alleged Indian operatives were being the killing of Khalistani activist Hardeep Singh Nijjar. Khalistani supporters demand an independent homeland for Sikhs in India. India's government rejected Trudeau's claims as false. Both countries expelled each other's top diplomats. This caused Canada to pause its early progress trade agreement with India, raising concerns about their trade ties. Mark Carney is now the new leader of Canada's ruling Liberal Party. He's expected to be sworn in as Canada's new Prime Minister on Friday. Carney won 85.9% of the Liberal Party vote in the recent leadership race. Carney says he wants to fix the damaged relationship. He believes Canada needs to diversify its trade, especially due to tariff threats from the US. Carney has a background in finance and experience in renewable energy in India. The hope now is that he can help restart talks between the two countries. For Westman This Week, I'm Ritika Thakur.
Thanks, Ritika. And now with more news from around our world, here's Erica Brake.
Thanks, Stephen. Here are just a few of the stories making international headlines this week. We start in Ukraine, as Ukrainian officials also agreed to a 30-day ceasefire proposal to negotiate the end of war with Russia. U.S. officials say the ceasefire agreement will be presented to Russia. The U.S. will immediately resume intelligence sharing and military aid to Ukraine. The ceasefire talks are proposed amid large drone strikes launched by Ukraine on Moscow. Russia also launched mass strikes against Ukraine's capital, Kyiv, this week. U.S. President Trump announced new 25% tariffs on all steel and aluminum imports that started Wednesday. The move has the potential to hike some prices for American consumers and cause financial and employment concerns for Canadian companies. U.S. Commerce Department statistics show the U.S. imported more than $58 billion worth of aluminum, steel, and iron last year. Many economists warn that auto prices could go up, and prices also could rise for appliances, machinery, infrastructure, medical devices, power lines, beverage cans, and more. Independence was a central theme in Greenland's parliamentary elections this past Tuesday. Greenlanders largely voted for a future that does not involve the United States or U.S. President Donald Trump. Greenland's pro-business opposition party won virtually 30% of the vote. It favors a gradual path to independence from Denmark. There's growing concern about the Arctic. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration says the frozen landscape on the top of the Earth is now in a new regime with more extreme conditions. Scientists say part of the Arctic were 36 degrees Fahrenheit higher than normal. Sea ice levels have also fallen to record lows for the past 3 months. A report from the University of Hamburg predicts that by the year 2050, the Arctic will not have ice during the summer season. A SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket carried 2 NASA projects into space Tuesday. The rocket's cargo includes Sphere X and Punch. SphereX is a space telescope that will collect data on more than 450 million galaxies and 100 million stars. That will give scientists insight into how the universe expanded so quickly after the Big Bang. Punch is a collection of 4 cameras that will photograph the sun. Those images will be the first to show both the star's corona and solar wind together. Both SphereX and Punch will settle into a sun-synchronous orbit around Earth's poles. That means they'll keep the same orientation relative to the sun all year. And that is all the time we have for your look at international headlines. We will take a short break, and Josh Vandersloot is up next with The Weekender. Stay tuned.
Hello, and welcome to The Weekender for March 14th. I'm Josh Vandersloot, and here is what's going on in and around Westman. The BU Jazz Fest is taking place this weekend. From the 13th to the 15th, you can enjoy jazz music put on by the BU students and guests. Tickets are available now, so don't miss out. For more information, go to bujazzfest.ca. If rock is more your jam, the Flesh Monkeys hit the stage at the 40 on Friday. Doors open at 9 and it's a $10 cover at the door. Then on Saturday night, it's Matt Corey and the Bad Decisions along with Pure Entry and Ash and the Arsonists. Shows start at 10 p.m. and there is a $10 cover. Over at the Lady of the Lake, Jan Eck and Lady K are playing on Friday night, and they are celebrating 60 years of making music. Show starts at 8 p.m. and there's a $5 cover charge. Bankroll Hayden is coming to Brandon's Roadhouse this Saturday. He has a unique blend of country, folk, rap, and pop music, which gained him global attention. He starts at 6 p.m. and plays till 10 p.m. Tickets are $23 and $36. Get tickets and more info at showpass.com. The Dungeons & Dragons program at the library is back. Registration is required and the event is 17 plus. The next gameplay day is this Saturday from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. To register, stop at the library or email programs@wmrl.ca. For the equestrian enthusiasts, check out the Western Riders at the Westover Agricultural Center of Excellence in the Keystone Center. It runs from Friday to Sunday and events are happening all day. Also at the Keystone Center, you can catch the Crocus Kennel Club's Dog Agility Trials. It should be loads of fun and runs all weekend long in the indoor show ring. Brandon's first annual St. Patrick's Ceilidh and party is happening this weekend. For Irish music, food, and dancing, come down to the Ukrainian National Hall on Sunday. The party starts at 2 and ends at 5. Tickets are $10. For movie fans, there are 2 new movies playing this weekend at Landmark Cinemas. Black Bag is a gripping spy drama about 2 married intelligence agents, but when she is suspected of betraying the nation, he must choose between loyalty to his marriage or his country. Also playing this weekend is Novocaine. This action movie tells the story of a man who cannot feel pain trying to rescue the girl of his dreams after she is kidnapped. Check landmarkcinemas.com for more showtimes and more information. Turning to the weather for this weekend, it's going to remain a bit cooler. On Friday, we could see some flurries with a high of 0 and a low of -5. On Saturday, expect cloudy and windy conditions with a high of -5 and a low of -12. And on Sunday, we should see sunny skies but cooler temperatures with a high of -7 and a low of -15. Into next week, the weather will continue on with seasonal conditions for this time of year. That's all the time we have for The Weekender. I'm Josh Vandersloot. We'll take a short break, but stay tuned. Sports is next.
Welcome back. It's time for a look at sports. And Nolan Jans joins us now. Nolan, the Wheat Kings only have a few games left in the regular season.
That's right, Stephen. The Wheat Kings punched their ticket to the WHL playoffs, are now playing for a position in the postseason. The Wheaties hosted one of their division rivals on Wednesday night. Brandon squared off against the Saskatoon Blades halfway through the first. Luke Shipley scored his 15th on a point shot, and Brandon's up 2-0. In the second, Marcus Wynn snipes his 31st of the campaign to give the Brandon a 2-0 lead. Then Roger McQueen, who made his return to home ice after a lengthy injury, makes a beautiful pass to Wynn, who notched his second of the game. It is now 3-0 for the Wheaties. Halfway through the second, Saskatoon would answer back as Zach Olsen puts a loose puck past Carson Bjornsson, and it's now 3-1. A minute later, Marcus Wynn completes the natural hat trick as he point shot finds the net, and it's now his 33rd of the marker. Saskatoon would score late in the second to get the Blades back to within 2 goals, but the Wheaties were not denied as Caleb Hadland would add an empty net to make the final 5-2. Bjornsson gets the win with a 28 saves on the night. With the victory on Wednesday, Brandon moves up the top spot in the East, but the race is very tight. With 5 games remaining, Saskatoon is in the second spot in the division and Prince Albert is in third, only 1 point back of both Brandon and the Blades. Swift Current rounds out the top 4 with 69 points. That means the remaining games are absolutely critical. Friday night, the Wheaties will host a struggling Moose Jaw Warriors squad, and they'll play them again on Saturday in Moose Jaw. Saskatoon is in town next Wednesday. Brandon closes out the season with a home-and-home against Regina. Brandon is looking to get as many points out of these 5 games to solidify a second place in the Eastern Conference to give them the best shot at going through the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. The U18 AAA Brandon Wheat Kings have advanced to the second round of the playoffs. Action got underway Tuesday night as Brandon faced off against the Southwest Cougars. It was a tightly contested affair in the first until Cole Dupois gave Brandon a 1-0 lead. But partway through the second, Southwest would score a pair of goals in 2 minutes to give them the lead. But 30 seconds later, Brandon would tie it with Jonah Lemoyne finding the back of the net. Later in the period, the Wheat Kings would get the lead. It would not give it up as Roman Michalchuk scored his first of the playoffs. Then, in the third, Hudson Champagne would add to the lead with his first goal in the postseason. Late in the game, Ethan Stanley would score on an empty net to give Brandon a 5-2 win. The Brandon Wheat Kings have won their first playoff matchup against the East Band Selects in a 3-game sweep. In the other playoff matchups, the Winnipeg Wild swept the Interlake Lightning. The Winnipeg Bruins beat the Pembina Valley Hawks in 3 games. The Southwest Cougars took down the Winnipeg Thrashers in a 3-game sweep. Now it's time for the second round of the playoffs, and the Wheat Kings will face off against the Southwest Cougars in the semifinals. In another semifinal, it's the battle of 2 Winnipeg teams as the Wild and Bruins will match up with the spot in the finals on the line. Brandon took Game 1 by a score of 5-2. Game 3 takes place this Saturday at J&G Homes Arena, with action getting underway at 7:30. Tickets will be limited, so make sure you get down there and cheer on the Wheat Kings as they look to try to make it back to the finals. Excitement is in the air for the upcoming U Sports National Men's Volleyball Championship. Brandon University Bobcats team has been working hard at preparing to host the championship here in Brandon. The championship will go underway next weekend at the Brandon's very own Healthy Living Center. Among the teams playing for are the number 1 seeded Alberta Golden Bears and the number 2 seeded Winnipeg Westman, both of which are Canada's West teams. This is Brandon's first time hosting a national championship in 9 years. It's sure to be one exciting weekend. There's games every day from March 21st to 23rd. Don't miss out on seeing your Bobcats in action. A local area product made his Manitoba Junior Hockey League debut this season. Our Stephen Whitehead has more.
Liam made his MJHL debut this season, starting with the Winnipeg Freeze and ending with the Verdun Oil Capitals. It was quite the notable season for Liam, placing top 10 in rookie scoring and being named Verdun's Rookie of the Year. When asked, he said he's shocked at the improvements of his game so quickly over this past season and can't wait to prove that again next year and experience the playoffs for the first time. Stephen Whitehead, Westman This Week, Verdun.
In college athletics, the Assiniboine Cougars are headed to St. Louis, Missouri. The Cougars are looking to recapture the national championship title at the American Collegiate Hockey Association tournament next week. They had an outstanding season, won all but 2 games. The Women's Division II tournament is set for next week. You can catch all the action on Flow Hockey from March 21st to 25th. The Cougars have previously won the championship title twice in their history. The women's futsal team is making history by reaching the finals for the first time ever. The women's futsal team has reached an incredible milestone for the first time ever. They have made it to the finals. This monumental achievement in our history is a testament to hard work, dedication, and passion of every player, coach, and staff member throughout the season. They will face off against #1 enemy, the Brandon Bobcats, on March 15th at 3 p.m.
For preparation, we're playing BU on Saturday, so what we did is we reflected on the past games that we've played against them and kind of found like our faults and what we need to work on and kind of how they play, and we practiced on Monday and Wednesday about like different strategies and what we can do to help us get the win.
And that's all the time we have for sports. Just a reminder that the Wheaties play Friday night and the AAA Wheat Kings are in action on Saturday.
Well, there's lots going on in sports. Thanks, Nolan. And before we go, weird manhole fires, avalanche near misses, and an alligator on the loose. All that in today's Take a Look at This.
A chaotic scene at a Texas college triggered evacuations as eerie neon green flames were seen blasting from a manhole on campus. Initial reports of an underground substation explosion were issued by Texas Tech officials following multiple power outages at the school. At the same time, fire officials responded to reports of multiple manhole fires. As crews worked the blazes, the school issued partial evacuation orders. No injuries were reported, but later on the school announced it would shut down for the rest of the week, starting next week's spring break a couple of days early. I'm sure the students were heartbroken. Speaking of extreme situations, a snowboarder is lucky to be alive after being caught on camera outrunning an avalanche in New Hampshire. The human-engineered event was designated a small slide by the Mount Washington Observatory, which captured the video, but I'll bet it didn't feel small to the snowboarder, who pulled a full-on XXX-style escape. Remember XXX with Vin Diesel? It's all right, nobody does. Finally, a Florida cop was turned into a temporary pizza delivery dude while responding to reports of an alligator in a Bradenton neighborhood.
Ma'am, get back over there. There's an alligator right under your car.
Oh my God! As the gator hid under a car in the driveway, the real delivery driver showed up and was like, "Nope!" handing the order over to the officer. The homeowner, seemingly unfazed by the huge gator,
"Get in the house!"
and apparently still hungry,
"Where's my pizza?"
took delivery of the pie from the cop in the back as trappers took measurements of the monster out front.
8 foot on the nose.
It was all very, very Florida. For Take a Look at This,
Holy sh**!
I'm Jeremy Roth.
I'm glad I don't have to worry about alligators interrupting my pizza delivery. That is all the time we have for this March 14th edition of Westman This Week. For all of us here at Assiniboine College, thanks for watching. I'm Stephen Whitehead. Bye for now.